Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Another fun episode. A lot happening this week. So we will cover what we can cover and leave the rest of the gossip to you all. You all can handle that on your group chat. So without further ado, the governor, really jealous about your background right now. Really jealous.
Well, for those that don't know, the governor is, as in the governor of the Cayman Islands, which I will accept that moniker. This is a sample of the sandy beaches of the Cayman Islands, and I really feel, I'm due for a trip home, let me tell you. But yeah, good to be here, happy, and I'm on a beach. So just keep that in mind.
He's keeping his zen. He's combing that sand. So the next person is not going to let you stay on your beach. Lamar, let's get ready to rumble up. And he already is saying no.
Nope, not at all.
Oh my goodness.
Who has sampled said beach? Okay.
These are facts.
Yes, indeed.
I found out what sand gnats are.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's yeah.
We're gonna move on. Just stop.
Sundown swarms are a real thing. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Oh my gosh, Clyde, save it fast.
I mean, I've never been to the Caymans. I was about to invite myself, and then I heard about sand gnats. So I don't really know. I don't really know if I want to go, but they must have less COVID there than here. So
I mean, yeah,
less people, less COVID.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Last but never, ever, 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 ever least, Sir Lucious.
Good evening, good morning, wherever you guys are watching. I as usual, big league. I'm rolling, girl. I'm rolling.
But that chin strap is still alive, sir.
Well, I've got some personal and team goals that will keep the chin strap alive for a little bit longer, or maybe for longer than I want it to be alive. So we'll see. If it's still there in like 8 weeks, you'll be like, Sir Lucious, you're failed.
You're right. Somebody needs to be cut real quick.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Well, lovely to have you all, of course, as always. And we are just going to jump into the fire because why not? I mean, as if you all aren't chomping at the bit for this one, because everybody else in the world is. CFP. Man, oh man. Like, I mean, do we lob it up to Clyde or do we make him wait and go last?
Oh, no, we lob it up.
I'll go first. I don't care. I didn't watch the game.
Wow, that's
I didn't
awful.
watch the game. I
You're
literally turned the game on while flipping through off of Rachel Maddow or whatever it was. It was the fourth quarter. There were 10 minutes or so to go, and it was like 13-12. So I saw all the end of game shenanigans. I could not have been less interested in that game, but congratulations to Kirby Smart and UGA. I do appreciate the Stetson Bennett storyline. I think that's pretty cool. He was very emotional at the end of the game. I thought that was great. I like underdog stories, and he most definitely is an underdog. The SEC privilege put them in the playoff where they did not earn the right to be, and they took full advantage of it.
Go Dogs. Say that.
I've been saying it the whole time. I'm not going to change it now.
Yeah, but how do you say that? Like, you don't make the rules. These aren't the rules according to Clyde.
No, but it was the opinion according to Clyde that was asked for, so you got it.
No, you said they didn't earn it.
They didn't.
So you can say I don't believe the
system worked exactly how it was.
You can't say that you can't say that they didn't earn it because they earned it according to the system that was put in place in front of them.
You're absolutely right. I stand corrected.
Exactly.
The system that was put in place worked exactly the way it was meant to work.
No,
You're
that's not
absolutely
true.
right.
But anyway, so we don't get into this conjecture and nonsense that you like to spew. I'm just going to say, first of all, congratulations to Georgia. I in a conversation with the EP, I told him that I thought Georgia was the best team. I just wasn't sure they thought they were the best team, but clearly they thought they were the best team and they went out and showed it. That's the Georgia that we saw all year. That's the Georgia that some people, including some on this panel, said was trash. Yeah, that was said that they didn't belong, that Cincinnati was better, and so on and so forth. But anyway, so at the end of the day, they took apart the team that everybody thought was the best team in the country. And so we have to give credit to Kirby Smart. He kind of exercised the demon here. And so, kudos to them. And I think that, the other thing that we are kind of bouncing around here is this whole expansion idea. And like, guys, what's our thought on, like, do we expand the playoffs when we had not one close game in the three that were played? Like, so we're going to just add a couple more games and add a couple more blowouts. Is that what we're going to do?
Oh, no, that I definitely care about. We can talk about that.
Well, this is not, does Clyde care about it? This is, we want the governor's opinion and Lamar's opinion.
I'm waiting.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to sidestep the great question and go to the original question first. Yeah, the CFP was interesting.
Was it?
It was. I mean,
hold on a second. May I counter with, we did ask you for your opinion, right? As he stated, we asked him for his, we're not asking for yours. So respectfully, we'll ask Clyde to behave himself for once in his life, please.
I like it. I'm gonna say it with my chest out. Yeah, the real Jim Harbaugh showed up, which is not surprising. And Cincinnati got beat. That just is what it is. I think that's literally the whole narrative. Cincinnati got beat. Like the pylon of whatever nonsense that was piled on. Like, well, see, I told you they didn't belong. That's all nonsense. Like, I mean, Oklahoma's lost in those games. Like Ohio State has lost in those games. Like, so like they belonged where they were. They got beat. Yeah, they belonged where they were and they got beat. But I want to jump to the national championship game and just be clear about one thing. I will not do the giant eraser conjecture and say, well, if then. So I'm not going to say, well, if Alabama's second first round wide receiver doesn't blow out his knee also in the game, that Alabama wins the game. I'm not going to do that, right? Because I think that's disrespectful. But I will say this, even Alabama at some point in time runs out of viable, ready options to beat a more talented team. Because let's be clear, Georgia has more talent, more physical talent on their roster than anybody, right? And yes, when one first rounder goes down, you slide the other first rounder into more prime situation. He does what he does. But when the second one goes down, yes, you replace him with a 5-star kid, but it's a 5-star kid that is a whole year and a half worth of reps behind. And so I thought it was absolutely awesome to see one of Nick Saban's assistants finally take advantage of a situation that was before them. Because let's be clear, this isn't the first time that, a Saban team has not been perfect or a Saban team has been slightly banged up and he still manages to always kick them in the throat. So I'm going to give credit to Georgia for taking advantage of what was in front of them. They were really good. They didn't choke. And I know I'm not the only person on this panel that when there was 1 minute and 49 seconds to go and Alabama has the ball and they're down by 8, I know I'm not the only person that thought Alabama's going to drive down here, score this, get the 2-point conversion, and then we're going to go to overtime, and that's going to be interesting. Because I think almost everybody thought that was going to happen. And then an interception, the pick six gets thrown, and the game's over. Like just like that, the game was over because now it's impossible. So that's what I thought was very interesting is that, you know, like even down 2 first-round wide receivers, and let's be clear, those 2 dudes are like 1 and 4 on the big board of wide receivers. Even without them, like the game was still a 1-possession game until the very last possession of the game.
Governor?
Saw exactly what Lamar saw. And, you know, you finished the first half and it was nothing but field goals, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going into the second half and you know there are going to be adjustments made. You know that, you know, they're going to, someone is going to figure something out. And I think what happened in that game is that Bryce Young was being chased almost every single, so if he wasn't chased out of the pocket, he was hit and hit and hit, and that wears on you after a while. And I think, to me, the play that was like, you know, really just that got into under his skin was when he tried to roll out when they were in the red zone and the linebacker from Georgia runs him down.
Who is substantially faster than him.
Absolutely.
The linebacker outweighs him
Unbelievable.
by like 80 pounds, and he is substantially faster than him.
Yes. And I think by the time they got to the fourth quarter, I think that O-line of Alabama was gassed. I think the D-line was gassed as well. And they could not run the ball. Alabama could not run the ball.
I want you to listen to what you're saying and understand what Lamar just said. They had to ball and were driving down the field in an attempt to tie the game.
Mm-hmm.
So all the things you're saying, okay, there was still a chance for them to win the football.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think, okay, like, so I think first of all, you have to give big kudos to Georgia. I mean, because I have never seen a Georgia team play that hard ever.
Yeah.
Right? And clearly somebody was smart enough to go back and watch the Auburn tape, right? Somebody said, let's go figure that out. Right? Because even though A&M beat them, which is what I think, that was a tape they watched the first time.
Yeah.
This time they said, let's go watch the tape of the team that harassed the heck out of Prince.
Yep.
You know, and then like you can go through and do it on both sides, but there were several balls on the Alabama side that the 2 great ones catching, the young boys just weren't ready for it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But it was a good old fashioned SEC war, Clyde. That's what it was.
And it's obvious that Alabama was prepared for running down the middle. They were not prepared for counter.
No.
They were not prepared for that running back to put his foot in the ground and go left.
Yeah.
And
at the end of the day, though, like I said, they still had the ball.
Yeah.
With less than 2 minutes and a chance to go down the field with an attempt to tie. So
let me answer the reference you just made about that moment, down 8, going down the field. I didn't watch the first 3 quarters. So I had no sense of what the game had been. I mean, I could listen to the commentary, right? Like it'd been a field goal game and I could see the score, but I had no reference point for the energy of it.
Oh man.
All I know is that when I turned the TV on, I never thought that Alabama was going to come back and tie that game. They looked done. I mean, the DBs are out there tackling dudes to prevent touchdowns. Like it just looked a mess at that point. And guys, listen, I joke, but in all seriousness, when it comes to college football, Division I, what do I root for?
Oh, chaos. We
At
talk
all
about that all
costs,
the time.
I root for chaos. So there was no chaos after the semifinals. So I was disinterested.
Yeah.
I couldn't have possibly cared less.
But there was a whole country around you that was pretty interested.
No doubt. But I'm saying, like, you think I'm being funny when I say, like,
No, I don't think you're being funny. I know
Like,
you're being
just
totally
didn't care.
serious. Yeah.
I
You know,
just didn't care.
so let's delve into this. Okay, so we talk about the expansion of the playoffs, right? So give me a reason why we'd expand the playoffs other than to just let other teams in because they won their conference championship,
Sure.
or to let other
I got an
teams
answer
in
for you.
just because no, okay, but play fair according to
I'm going to play fair, because what you currently have is not a playoff. Just because the entertainment industry puts the word playoff on the end of it doesn't make it a playoff. It's not a playoff. Okay. Every other sport in this country, including every other college football division, has an actual playoff. And if you want to actually know who the best team is every year, if you actually want to find out, if you really want to find out if the SEC is that good, then have a playoff where everybody has the same equal shot that they have to earn. I hear college football. Listen, I hear college football nerds and super fans say what? They didn't like the BCS because it cheapened the conference importance. You didn't like the playoff because it takes away from the importance of the regular season. All that. Great. Expanding it to 8 or 12. I'm not a big fan of 12. I think 8 is fine, depending on how you cut it up. If you expand it to 8, and as long as there's a Power 5, you say Power 5 champion guaranteed, you're in. Now there's 5. There you got 3 spots left. Top.
But see, there's. I'm gonna throw a big fallacy in that right away.
Why?
Because if in my opinion, the whole idea is to get the best 8 teams in the country into the playoff system, right? So just because you win a Power 5,
we don't do anything else.
Hold on a second. It's not basketball. So we're talking about basketball. It's a whole different deal. Like you know, letting 64 teams into the football playoff is dumb.
We didn't say that.
It's not happening. I'm just saying. But then don't talk to me about basketball. Where they get 64?
That one 64 game.
Exactly. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Can I jump in here real quick?
You can't compare it. Yes, you can't compare apple to orange.
I didn't. I'm comparing football to football.
Football to basketball is what you did.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. We always get caught because college sports and pro sports blend back and forth on the same channels, right? ESPN, Fox, they show them both, and inevitably we want the best of both worlds. We want some of the pro aspect in the college game and some of the college aspect in the pro game, and I think the reason that I would be a proponent of 8 is because of, well, it's part A and part B. Part A would be literally there's no room for anybody to bitch or complain ever again. Right? That's one.
Oh no! Because if you don't let all the Power 5 conference champions in, then Clyde's going to complain.
Okay, so all I'm saying is, like, if we go to 8, if we go to 8, right? If we go to 8, there's no real reasons to complain, no real legs to stand on. That's A. B.
So are you disregarding Clyde's feelings right now? Really?
Yeah, I am, because this is my opinion. B, and I think this
let me stop being bad. Let me stop.
Actually, agree with
this one actually sort of matters to me, right? Like, in college sports, things are supposed to be fair. The playing field's supposed to be leveled, right? Because it's not about who has, in theory. Again, this is all theory because we know it's not, right? I think having 8 teams is fair. Everybody legitimately has a shot at the national championship with 8, right? With 4, Boise State, who has like the best single season, the best 3 season, the best 5 season numbers, right? I'll just pick them. I mean, every year this year it's Cincinnati, but Boise State was Cincinnati longer and more often. But the Boise States of the world, right? Those teams that get caught between Power 5 and Group of 5. Because let's be clear, Boise State vintage, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's like this for 2 more years, right? They're too good to be lumped in the Group of 5 group, and they're not in a Power 5. So they get stuck in the middle. But if you have 8, there's a spot for that team. Because if you have 8, they understand, all I got to do is be better than the rest of the country. I don't have to be concerned with the second or third SEC team, because if I'm the best non-power 5, one of those 8 spots is going to go to me. So it's fair. Like when you start in August, it's fair to everybody who legitimately is pursuing the national championship in college football. That's my thought as to why we should expand from 4 to 8. And by the way, any other number is stupid. 6, 12, 16, those are all truly dumb. 8 is the only number that you can expand to that makes any sense.
Sir Lucious, do I get to finish the point I was trying to make?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. You know, like how
Did,
rude.
did you
I
two both
apologize.
take your petty pills tonight?
I'm just making sure, because he's asked me to do it and then he didn't let me do it. So to everything that Lamar just said there, I agree with, but the only way it ends up that way is if there is structure in place to guarantee it. So again, if you go to 8 and you just throw it to the committee, then the current system is just gonna rear its head the same way it does. And you'll have 6 of the 8 teams from the SEC, okay? You have to structure it. Again, if conferences matter, let's be clear. All of this talk, and all it is talk. And everybody hates when I say this, but I'm gonna say it again. Almost annually, a team from the mighty SEC runs the table in the regular season and goes undefeated. But the conference is so hard to play in. Every year somebody runs the table. The Pac-12 ain't had an undefeated team in years. And the narrative is it's because everybody out there sucks. The narrative is it's because everybody in the ACC sucks. Okay, well, since they don't play each other anyway, all that is opinion. So the only way to find out is to say, it's Power 5s, your champion matters. So your champion goes to the dance. If you're not a champ, you can't go, which leaves 3 spots. The top non-Power 5 team, your Cincinnati, you get in. Now that's 6. Now you got 2 at-larges. And let the committee battle that out. Whoever it is, I'm good with it. At that point, it is fair. At that point, there is nothing else to complain about. Line up and play the games and find out who the best is.
Can I stick one caveat in there on top of yours? Notre Dame has to be in a conference.
Sure.
Because
if you're giving 2 wild cards, they don't have to be in. They don't have to be in.
No, they have to be in a conference because otherwise there's going to be a Notre Dame spot.
Right.
So
no, exactly.
Here's
That's the point.
Here's my
right,
only
exactly.
issue with that scenario. Okay, so either we make it a whatever you want to call your system,
a playoff.
or we're trying to get the top 8 people. If it's 8 people, it's still a playoff. So nice try. So all I'm saying to you is that if we're trying to get the best 8 teams in the playoff, are we trying to get all the conferences involved? So we have to make a decision whether we want one or the other, because in no way, shape, form, or fashion, it's a team that wins a conference with 3 or 4 losses, which is going to happen in some of these other conferences. Sometimes it happens.
But sir, I'm asking you a serious question. So you want to keep it in the realm of football. Again, every other division has a real playoff where your seeding, getting into the tournament, is based on what you do in the regular season. The NFL is about to start their playoffs. We don't have the best 7 teams in the NFC and the AFC. No, we have the 4 division champions and the 2 wild cards, or now 3 wild cards. So every other sport does it this way. Why does the system of Division I college football have to have a system where people sit in a room and choose who the 4 are? Why can't we just line it up and play?
So I'm going to be.
And you think I have the answer to that question?
I want to hear the governor,
guys, right?
I want to hear the governor chime
So
in.
Yeah,
again,
you got the answer to that, Governor. I'm gonna. You need to play the lottery. You got the answer to that question.
I'm sitting on the beach with my ting. Okay, I'll have a drink real quick. So when I look at situations like that, and God knows we have heard every argument on both sides, right? I look at it like this, and anytime someone brings up a comparison between the Final Four in basketball, the tournament, and football, I have one thing to say, okay? You have 5 players on the court in basketball, okay? And on any given year, a Memphis, a Louisville, Duke, Kentucky, I mean, there are probably about 10 teams in the NCAA that on any given year can put together a national caliber, a national championship team. Okay. Now, when they get to the tournament, now you have a 1-game playoff, and all hell breaks loose if one team gets hot. They can't miss threes. They're just doing whatever, and they're just letting it fly. And that is what makes the Final Four so special. You cannot do that in football. And the reason is that there are literally 4, maybe 5 teams. I mean, when we look at the precipitous fall of Clemson, from where they were to where they are now, and what the road that they have to get right back up to compete. Look, they're now, to me, 2 to 3 years behind Alabama and Georgia, right?
Absolutely.
We just saw reports that Texas A&M has spent in excess of $25 million in NIL dollars in order to secure the best class they've ever had. Okay? So now they have the players, right? Or they think they have the players, okay? These are freshmen. How long is it going to take for them to build that team up to where they can go up against Alabama or Georgia, right? What do we know about Alabama? That squad we just watched is coming back, right?
Well, they did got 6 kids in the portal apparently.
Oh, okay. I'm not.
No, nobody you saw in the field was in the portal.
No, I'm
That
sure
does
not.
not move
No.
the needle
I'm sure
at
not.
all, right?
I'm sure
And
not.
they will be replaced by 6 other people from the portal
From
from
the
other
portal.
schools, so it won't matter. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
So
With
my-
NLI deals.
My point is this: I don't think it matters whether it's 8 or 12. I don't think
It's
it
gonna be
matters.
it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the
It's
usual
going to
suspects.
be the same result. I think we're going to see
Right.
the same prognosticators showing themselves in the top 4, and we're going to see the same teams. I mean, Florida, right, has resources. Florida State has, supposedly a blue blood, right? But how far down the ladder are those teams now, looking up at where Georgia and Alabama are?
So,
Governor,
right.
can I ask you a
So
question?
I have a question. I
Oh.
want to make a statement, but go ahead. Yeah, ask your question. I want to make a statement.
Go
Well,
ahead.
it's actually for all of you. Other than the number of teams in the playoff, or a playoff that actually is, do we? Am I the only one that thinks the timing of how all of this is rolled out is a part of what makes this whole thing fraudulent? I'm sorry, Georgia and Alabama ain't the same teams they were a month ago when the season ended. Why do we have to wait a month? Why? I think that's ridiculous.
But I don't understand how that makes it fraudulent.
Well, I just said it. So okay, well, let's pretend for a second that after the SEC championship game, according to Georgia, not Charles Ryan, according to Georgia, and people connected to Georgia, they weren't in good enough shape. So they went home and spent a month focused on conditioning and all this other stuff. And that's cool because that's within the bounds of the rules. All I'm saying is, like, imagine the NFL having to wait 30 days to start the playoffs.
But what's fraudulent about it?
It makes it the teams are who they are at the end of the season. And they're totally different versions of themselves 35, 40 days later.
because they get a chance to prepare. They all four get to prepare. So there's nothing
Yeah, they all
fraudulent
do
about
get to
that.
prepare, but I'm just saying in the bounds
See,
of
I'm just focused on the word fraudulent. I don't get that.
the system.
I don't know what's
the way we
fraudulent
choose
about
a
that.
national champion is fraudulent. It's not a
Okay, so
playoff.
hold on a second.
It's a
We're
TV
talking.
show.
You're spinning away again.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I just
you're
asked you.
saying
All I
that
asked you was,
okay,
do
so
you think waiting 45 days to play championships is a good idea? That's all I asked.
Okay, that's not what you asked, but that's okay. So
Literally
in
what
the end of the day for me, like clearly they push it back because they've played a long season. They want to give them a chance to get healthy and all that stuff. Okay, but that's not my truck. But
That's
nothing.
why they
That's
do
nothing.
it. It's not about television dollars.
Okay. Okay. What? But that makes it fraudulent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so I'm not going to address them. But this is what I'm going to tell you. Okay, so like, the governor made some very, very good and sensible points, and the fact of the matter is that this is all centered on recruiting. Okay, there was a stat that I read, and then somebody also made this point. How many top 100 players coming out of high school were on Michigan's roster over the last 4 years, and how many were on the Georgia roster over the last 4 years? Michigan had 8. Georgia had 40.
I was about to say 10 to 40. That was going to be my guess. 10 to 40.
So therein lies the problem, because Georgia has people on their roster that can't get on the field that were top 100 players in the country. Mm-hmm. So they have backups. So when we're talking about the playoff and we're talking about all this other stuff, it doesn't matter how many teams you put in the playoff. The teams that are getting the better players and have the better coaches, which right now have to be Alabama consistently. Mm-hmm. Georgia obviously is there now. Those teams are going to continue to win the tournament or the playoffs, whatever you want to call it. They're going to be the national champions. This has nothing to do with all the other backroom conjecture we talk about. Okay. At the end of the day, like in any other sport on this planet, the best coach team with the best players wins the game.
Well, given that thought, that's why I think it's
right
interesting
now
that you guys think Clemson.
SEC.
I think it's interesting that you guys actually have kicked dirt on Clemson like they're a dead body. Like we're not very far removed from them being 1A, 1B from year to year with Alabama, right? Like we're literally a season removed from that.
That's right.
Yeah. Right? They were bad this year.
And that's happened with a lot of people, though, hasn't it?
No. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't like Clemson. Their recruiting classes are still ridiculous. And let's be clear about something. Clemson made Brent Venables, not the other way around. Brent Venables got run out of Oklahoma on a rail because his vaunted Oklahoma defense came up 73 points in a bowl game. So, like let's be clear. Clemson is going to be really, really good next year and for the foreseeable future for all the same reasons that you guys just mentioned.
Well, but I think Clemson never came out of my mouth. So
I'm talking to the governor.
Lamar.
I want to say it with my chest.
Say it with your chest.
Orange, right?
Okay, but
Lamar,
you know, but the governor made a great point. You have to give him credit for that.
Governor, you know if you say anything bad about Clemson,
and
it's coming on.
Go ahead,
Lamar. The reason the fall off happened, according to all the reports, is because your boy didn't want to play the portal game. He doesn't like it. He doesn't believe in it. He went anti-portal, and you see how fast it spun out of control on him. Now, has he changed his mindset?
The reason the fall off happened is because his 5-star supposed superstar quarterback, who was a preseason Heisman guy, showed up and was 15 pounds out of shape and looked like absolute hot trash this year. That's what happened. They lost 2 football games they weren't supposed to lose, and that's it. Like, there's no—
You lend no credibility to the reality that Dabo said, I'm not playing.
Okay, so understand this.
It can't rear its head until next year, Charles, because this year's team didn't need portal people to be good.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna tell you about Clemson. Okay, here's what I'm gonna tell you about Clemson. A lot of them. I can't tell you what happened with Clemson this year, but I will remind everybody that they didn't give up a point to Georgia. They gave up a touchdown. They gave up a field goal and an interception, won the game. So not sure what happened after that. We're talking about this national championship team. They played them tougher than anybody but Alabama.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I had to go look up the recruiting rankings. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I had to do it.
Of course.
Right.
Okay.
And
if you didn't, I was gonna.
And Lamar, I am not.
Yeah.
Oh my
go ahead.
gosh. Stop.
I'm
Go
listening.
ahead.
I am not.
I'm listening.
This is not Clemson slander. Okay. I'm just saying that the way this is going, you miss a year, you miss 3 years. That's just my opinion. And
Tell them what they rank, sir. Tell them.
25. 1 5-star, 7 4-stars, 3 3-stars. That is their current recruiting class.
That sounds like Cincinnati recruiting club.
Let me ask you for a question, a real question. Because look, I'm a fan, just like everybody else is of 5-star, 4 stars, 3 stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which one of those numbers do you think there are more of in the NFL? 5 stars, 4 stars, or 3 stars?
Look,
real question.
You don't. I know that the folks that end up playing in the league are either 3 or 4 stars.
There are substantially more 3 stars in the NFL than 5 stars. So let me tell you something.
Wait,
if your recruiting class is
God.
look, listen to me. If your recruiting class is in the top 25, that's cute. It makes a publication. What I really want to know is, what number quarterback did you get? What number offensive and defensive linemen did you get? What number of wide receivers did you get? Because that's what's relevant, right? The rest of it you can build. Like, no offense to any of these running backs, but let's be clear. They're Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, what's his face that used to play for New Orleans that won the Heisman for Alabama. I can't think of his name right now.
Ingram.
But yeah, Big Truss, right?
Yeah.
They were all on the same Alabama team.
Right.
There's only one ball, right?
Yeah.
So people transfer. So at the end of the day, like, guys, I'm just saying this. If you got the number 25 recruiting class in the country, I don't know this to be true. I haven't even looked. But if you have the number 25 recruiting class in the country and you got the number 1 or 2 quarterback in the country, you're okay.
Right. My point is this. A&M. So how many 5 stars did I say Clemson got?
1.
Right? How many 4 stars? 7, right?
Oh.
Something like that.
And then 3.
No, I thought it was 17.
No, 7.
Okay.
Okay.
If you say, we were past it, so I didn't remember.
All I'm saying is A&M got 6 5 stars and 19 4 stars. So I look at it like this. We're talking about numbers. We're talking about we have more good players.
Same guy's still the head coach, though, right?
Huh?
Same guy's still the head coach? Okay, we're good.
Oh my God.
Alabama.
Oh my God.
3 5 stars, 19 4 stars, 2 3 stars. Georgia, 5 5 stars, 15 4 stars, 7 3 stars. All I'm saying is this. The numbers game, it doesn't add up anymore. Okay.
So, that is very well done, Governor, and not just because you took the time to look it up and throw it in his face, but because you doing so allowed him to fall into the trap that people fall into all the time on this topic. And Lucious, I know you're mad at me because every time we're doing college football, you stay mad at me. But I'm asking you to put that down.
I'd be mad at you.
I'm asking you to put that down for a second.
I don't get mad at you about college football.
Focus on the nonsense that your man, the EP, just tried to lay out to to this panel of
Okay,
smart people.
so I am going as the elder statesman. I'm going to close this segment and
Yeah.
allow you to get on. But so
No, but
let
wait
me
a minute,
just
wait a
say
minute,
this.
Wait a
No,
minute.
I'm going to comment. I'm going to give you the comment that you asked for. Okay. First of all, I'm going to start with the fact that I think the governor has clearly stated everything very well. No, this nonsense that I get mad at you is laughable. But I will say this, that your some of the things you say to me are confusing, but then I know you very well, so I understand where they come from. And that's a conspiracy theorist in you. And I appreciate that. Now, that nonsense that the EP just spouted, because he went from them being a ridiculous recruiting class, those are his words, ridiculous, to defending that if they got a good quarterback, they were okay. So I don't know what are they ridiculous? Are they okay?
Yeah, no
So
doubt. Wait a minute, no doubt, but it's
I don't know
way
which one it
deeper
is.
than that. It's way deeper than that. You see what he did? Because he was talking about a team that he's a fan of, and he tried to go the route of, I know they're getting their ass kicked in recruiting according to the rankings. We know that, but there's way more 3 stars, overwhelming amount, 3 stars and 4 stars in the NFL. But if we were making that exact argument about somebody in the West, an Oregon, a USC, or someone up north, a Michigan, his head would explode. His head would explode. And this is the problem.
How do you figure that?
Because, sir,
he's on one tonight.
The argument that you just made about 3 and 4 star recruits are the actual dudes who end up in the NFL, which is a fact, is the exact justification why there has to be 8.
Yes.
But
I never had an issue with 8. I was on the side of it.
You don't have an issue with 8, but you do often step on the side of the SEC is just better than everybody else.
Well, okay, so here, wait,
but not
both those things can be true.
But not
both
Clemson.
Those things. No. Clemson's not a league, sir.
No, they're not. They're a team.
Okay, so you listen, sir. You will not do to me what you attempt to do to Sir Lucious. If we're comparing,
he attempts to do it poorly because
if we are comparing leagues, and you can rewind this tape, I have said for 2 years on this show, the best league from top to bottom is the Big Ten, and I have said that on numerous occasions. Now, does the SEC have more good players than every other league? More players whose skill sets fit in the highest level of the game in the NFL? Sir, that is not arguable. There are so many more SEC people in the NFL than there are from any other conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. So you can't paint any arguments that you just made that have come out of my mouth, because none of them had. Now, am I a fan of Clemson? Sure, I'm unapologetic about that. I don't think I've ever run from that. Right? So you
run heavy towards that light, bro.
Right. So was I going to sit here and take the Clemson slander from UTSA? No shot. No shot.
Like you said, the hair stood up on the back of your neck. But see, but the whole discussion here goes back to what the comparison I made is when you have that many more skill level players than the other team.
Yes.
That's why, I mean, like, there's just, whenever there's a really good team in the SEC, it's because they have those many good players.
Yes.
Think about it. Like, you talk about teams like that used to be Miami, that used to be FSU. That was it wasn't that long ago that it was here in Florida.
Exactly.
Like back when they won the title.
It used to be USC too.
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. Back when they won those couple of titles back here in football, there were guys that barely saw the field that are playing in the NFL.
Right.
There were also several murderers on those teams. So.
Oh my God.
That's so wow. Now that was
am I wrong?
Yes, you are. Several murderers. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there was
on
one.
that note,
At least two. At least two.
Hold on a second.
On that
never
note,
more than one, and you, sir, are out of control.
Oh my
There was
god.
at least two.
See,
There were
that's,
at
that's what
least two.
happens. See,
But
see,
Tebow
you
balanced
guys-
out the murderers, right?
see, you,
Yes.
you two bash Clemson, and he takes it out on me, right? So,
My bad.
so,
for
so you
bringing
know what?
Clemson up,
I'm
okay?
I'm
My
I'm on
bad,
y'all
my
side
bad.
now. I'm on y'all side now. Clemson is trash. I'm done. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You cannot kick me to the curb. Do you know how much? Like, I have been called. I don't know if y'all know this. I have been called a Florida apologist. Do you know how many people think that all that I care about is the University of Florida track and field program? That everything that comes out of my mouth is. I get that all the time.
Oh,
So don't throw me out the tracks with the rest
Hold
of
on a
them.
second. You call you like you made us.
I just like
murderers, man.
Clemson football more. Listen, we can go back to some of those tapes.
Big
Oh
league.
my gosh.
Big
I know.
league.
I know.
Okay,
I'm
big
gonna
league, please.
Hey, but
on
that was
one.
fun.
Jeez.
Listen, we turned
Right.
we turned a CFP conversation into full bedlam. That was awesome. Next, what we got next, Coach?
Wow. I know. And so it gets better. So at this point, we're gonna segue to how do we call this? What the media is deemed a really good race, but I don't why for that reason. And here we go again, because I'm literally throwing lighter fluid all over it. So the race I so speak of is the 60-meter race at Millrose, which is coming up. The headliners are deemed to be Trayvon and Christian Coleman. Super cool. But there are also some other names to be mentioned and definitely not forgotten, right? So in that race, we've got Ronnie Baker, Marvin Bracey, Trayvon Bromell. It is Noah,
Christian
right?
Coleman.
Yeah, Christian Coleman and Noah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure it was going to be
Yeah.
the right Lyle. Yeah. So I mean,
It better be Noah.
I know. I was going to say, wow, this one, throw him in there.
Actually, but Josephus does have a faster 60 PB than Noah from high school.
Oh,
I was going to
does
say,
he?
I don't think Noah's 60 PB is that fast.
Mhm.
Well,
Well, no,
and
he ran
so I was-
665 as a junior in high school, and Josephus
Again,
ran 64 as a senior. I mean, neither one of them. Okay.
That's not that
Big
fast.
league. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
Big
okay.
league.
No, I mean, I had the question in my head, so I had to. Of course, it came out loud.
Right.
You know, we see where the attention has been brought and whatnot, and how the graphics are coming out per social media and who's telling those stories. But how do the tiles see that playing out? Is it gonna be just Trayvon versus Christian? What do you
Since this,
think?
I know we're going to go all the way around the horn. I'll go ahead and I'll start because I know I'll get another shot at this. But I'm definitely not pro media hype for this race. But I guess I get it. They have hyped the two world champions in the 60. I do think it is bizarre to intentionally leave out another world medalist in the 60 who has a better PB than one of the two world champions in the 60. Right? Let's call it what it is. Like, I was there, and I think I'm in the majority. Asafa Powell lost that 60 race more so than Trayvon won it. Not a diss to Trayvon, but if we just go back to the semi and that meet, nobody in the building thought Asafa wasn't going to win Worlds.
Except for the fact that Instagram post all over.
Why? I'm not. I just said I'm not
viral
man.
Or everybody thought that Asafa was going to lose because that's what Asafa does.
I was going to say, except it was Asafa, and everybody's like, well, who's going to win? Because Asafa's going to figure out how not to, and that's what happened. So look, Trayvon's a monster indoors, no question. But if I'm going to be honest, like, I don't understand in any way, shape, or form how you hype a race that is under a roof and you have the second fastest guy in the history of the 60 third fastest, excuse me, not being mentioned. Right? Like, it's weird to me. The only people ahead of him on the all-time list are world record holders in the 60.
Okay. You
Just
do realize
wondering.
you didn't answer that. You didn't answer the question. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I did answer it. She asked me,
How
what
do
do we
you
think
think-
of it, right?
She asked
how
you
do
who's
how
gonna
do
win.
I-
play out?
Christian Coleman's going to win. There.
Wow. Around the block twice to cross the street.
Gotta
Well,
get
you know, you need your
Okay, so-
exercise. You're a little older.
Okay, yeah. I'll be
Okay.
here when you get here, brother. So anyway, so this is what I'm gonna say about this race. I think that anybody in their right mind has to know, not think, not assume. If Christian Coleman is right, he's going to be very hard to beat. Okay. And behind that, I mean, I'm not sure why we're talking about Bracey and Lyles, because they haven't shown that they're capable of running at that level. Trayvon has some quality races indoors. Ronnie is a 6'4" machine. Like Ronnie opens up a 6'4" all the time. So if there's a guy that causes problem for Christian, I think it's Ronnie because of his ability to accelerate down the track. That being said, it's a toss-up for me. If Coleman is absolutely at the top of his game, he'll be really hard to beat. I will say that. But if anybody can challenge him, I think it's Ronnie. And I'll leave it at that. Because unless Lyles went out the series and bought a start, I don't see that happening. So.
You know, you said that earlier today, and I was like, God, I hope he says that on camera. Amen. Amen.
So I will chime in, and I am in agreement with Sir Lucious. I mean, I feel like the chip on Christian Coleman's shoulder is probably about this big. And I mean, I just feel like, you know, he's already shown that, you know, whether it's an injury or something like that, where he's been out, this man comes back, and he comes back with a vengeance. So I don't see Christian Coleman being beaten. But I also feel like, I think, you know, between Brumell and Baker, I think both of them have something to prove. I think, you know, up until the missed tests and all of that stuff, I don't think there was any denying who the alpha dog was of U.S. sprinting. And I think what it does, you know, and we've seen it with Bolt, is that what it does is it takes the pressure off of everybody else. When you know that alpha dog is going to be showing up and he's going to do what he's going to do, and you're just going to have to deal with it, right? So what I hope, I mean, again, I've already said, I think Coleman will win. What I'm hoping is that Baker and Brumell rise to the occasion. Bracey is new to this. I think he, you know, for him, he has a lot. This is going to be, you know, in terms of to start his season. This is. I mean, you're stepping into the fire here. So I look at it from a standpoint of Coleman, and then Brumell and Baker, you know, are the ones that are fighting to get there too.
Correct me if I am wrong, but we all are aware, you know, everybody's hyped for outdoor world championships in America, but this also is an indoor world's year, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, and that's being hosted in China, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Serbia. Oh,
Serbia.
It's in Serbia.
Serbia.
Winter Olympics are in China.
Yes.
Winter Olympics are in China.
Yes.
My bad. So, first of all, can we get SOOO on the line? Can we replace somebody in this race and get SOOO in the race? Because that would make it spectacular.
Absolutely.
Secondly, look, the Chu really asked two questions if you think about it. How do we see the race playing out? If Christian's healthy, I'm gonna bet on the world record holder, right? Like, he's the best to ever do it. He's pissed off. He's been on the shelf for a little while. I think he's gonna try to come out there and, you know, make a statement, because that's the athlete that he's always been.
Right.
I don't expect we'll see a different version of that. So I think Coleman's gonna win the race. The sleeper, and I'm using that term on purpose, for me is Ronnie Baker. Why is he the sleeper? Which gets into Chu's second question. He's the sleeper because he's not getting the attention that some people may feel that he deserves because of his PR. And that's cool. But what this race really is opening the season hype. That's what it is. We're trying to build, some attention and have a good show and highlight the names that people are going to pay the most attention to. Well, that would be the indoor gold medalists and the guys that also have outdoor medals in the 100 as well. So the storyline is Coleman versus Bromell. That's the storyline, and rightfully so, because in this race, at this distance, who else would the storyline be about? Do I think Ronnie is capable of upsetting the narrative and going out there and winning it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it'll be fun to watch. I just wish Sue was in it somewhere.
So in this race at this distance, which is 60 meters, the third fastest man in history should not be mentioned at all.
He should
Yes,
be
a simple yes or no.
He should be mentioned.
Okay. He shouldn't be part of the headline at all.
No, the medalists, the guys with the golds around their necks should be.
Okay. He's a silver medalist and third fastest ever.
I hear you.
Okay.
Gold typically gets more hype than silvers.
See, but it's not about the hype. We're talking about the headline.
The headline is the hype. The headline is
Hey,
the hype.
hey, don't be trying to medal shame people around here.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It adds.
How many times, sir, did you get less hype than the silver or the gold medalist?
But it adds more hype when you put the third fastest human to ever do it in the equation. But that's just me. You're entitled to yours. I'm entitled to mine. You're wrong. I'm right. So we'll move forward.
People are lazy, brother. They ain't gonna read all that. They just want to know who A, one, and A. That's
no.
I want to.
The first and third fastest man ever and 2 gold medalists. That's a headline, and that's a proper headline. You just can't disregard a guy that's had the career the man has had. That's just not right. Because I can guarantee you that if it was, I'm gonna get on you now for doing the same thing the EP does. Because when it comes to Bromell, that's your guy. See, that's your guy.
Wait.
That's your guy.
Wait, hold on.
That's your guy.
Listen,
It's a ooh for me. That's your guy.
I don't know why. I'm a fan of Trayvon. I'm very interested in the comeback story of his career, given the catastrophic injury. But prior to that, he had a world championship indoor gold and an outdoor 100-meter medal. Other
irrelevant.
people don't have those
to this
things.
Conversation. Irrelevant to this conversation.
Other people don't have those things.
Irrelevant to this conversation.
He earned his hype.
I would appreciate if you would stay in the room. We're talking about the 60.
I love this tonight. The fight. This is why I'm ready to rumble.
I just want to stay in the room because we're talking about the 60. He wants to bring up the 100.
I'm talking about medals is what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, we're talking about the 60. So in terms of medals in the 60, they all 3 have medals. And yes, before you said 2 of them have gold, he has a silver. Okay, but in talking about the 60, if you stay in the room,
okay, in the 60,
all 3 of them in the 60.
Sir, in the 60, would you rather have the faster PR or the gold medal?
I think I'd like to be both because I'm greedy.
We all like both.
But
both.
Okay, so you asked that's my answer. So I think I'd like both. But honestly, I think in the situation, the way it happened, I don't have a problem being Ronnie Baker, right? Okay, he doesn't have the gold yet, but when you're in a race, see, there's nobody saying that somebody lost the medal for Ronnie to get it, right? Ronnie lost to the world record holder in the world record race. So there's no shame in that. He ran the third fastest time in history. He got beat that day. So anyway, that's just me. I'm old school. I think that you should give people the proper respect. Anytime you're the third best to ever do anything, you should have some respect behind your name.
But
I agree. We love
no one on this panel is not giving Ronnie Baker his respect.
I didn't say they were.
Okay.
I never
it's not the panel
people.
It's not the panel people.
It feels like that.
No, not at all.
I want to say this.
Well, there might be one panelist that doesn't like to give respect, but that's okay.
Don't pick on Chew. Chew didn't do anything wrong.
Chew never
feel
does
like-
anything wrong, so we know Chew's not the problem.
Oh man.
I feel
Ever.
like the headlines to this meet should be one of two. Either Christian Coleman's return, period, or mention all three. And there's context to it, right? Christian's PB is 600ths faster than Ronnie's. Right? That's not close, right? But Ronnie's PB is 700ths faster than Trayvon's and 800ths faster than Bracey's. So, like, on paper, clearly all of this is about paper, right? Because they haven't run a race this year. On paper, the only story, quote unquote, really is, will the world record holder do what he's done the last two indoor campaigns he's had, which is break the world record in his first meet? Because that's what he's done.
Okay. So basically, what he does is he has non-fugazi time trials against anybody he wants.
Oh,
Now
Jesus.
see.
I didn't say it.
I said none. I said none. Because what he does to the opposition when he is right, it is not fair. He doesn't play fair at all. Well, he's right. And if he's right, it's not going to be a race.
We're gonna be nice to that commentary tonight. If no other night, in the 60 meters, the person who's in here running a Fugazi time trial is Noah Lyles. So get him out of there and get me two in the race.
You can't. No, okay. I want two in the race
two.
as well. I want an 8-lane track or 9-lane track.
Give me more lanes. That's cool.
Exactly. Give me more lanes, but don't take
cool.
Noah out. And you can't run a Fugazi time trial if you're not going to run fast. You got to run fast by yourself.
Now, see, he can run fast. All I'm saying is, if I'm gonna watch the 60, I want to watch SOOO. So get me SOOO or get me another lane.
Well, just it's coming because we're the world championships again. Serbia.
Serbia.
But I mean, let's be real.
And let's be real. If anybody can challenge Christian, it's SOOO.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, listen, we're all fans of the sport, right? With it being a legitimate outdoor championship year, we all know that half the people ain't gonna take indoor for real anyway. So we may not even get an awesome indoor world,
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jakes is supposed to run.
Jacob's supposed to run. It's SOOO will run.
Going to run. SOOO will run. I mean, like if you're SOOO and you run 6:29 on the way to 100, how do you not run the 60 indoor?
Yeah.
Oh, we know SOOO gonna run. SOOO gonna run.
Okay, so here's the deal. If you've got SOOO and you've got Christian, and you've got either Ronnie or Tremel, Brumel, whoever else we got, I don't care who the other lanes are in.
Exactly.
No, I
We
want
just mentioned we
Jacobs.
need SOOO.
I want Jacobs in the race because I want to see if he's real.
So here's the thing that my 2 cents about this, not that you asked, but I do have it, is the aspect of there are so many different storylines, and for them to construct it the way they are, it's per U.S. Western media, right? One.
Did she just diss U.S. Western media? Is that what she said?
She sure
I
did.
guess.
And I like it. I'm here for it.
Absolutely.
She went far east on us right there.
Yes, she
I
did.
know, right?
Yes, she did.
I'm gonna let's keep it. I choose to be certain things at certain times.
Well played.
You've got CC storyline. You've got Brumel trying to have like, I'm fast and watch me. You've got Ronnie with his storyline. He just signed with Astra. He has got to be relevant still. And just being from inside conversations or whatever, how many of them are actually racing to race a time, race to get to Worlds, or racing to open up a season? But
they just opened up a season. Clyde said that.
Right?
Best, yeah.
But at what point do we remember that when we are just trying to execute races, the times are irrelevant? So then, that's what I mean by Western media. Like we have to cause
you know what, Chew, that's very interesting. And first of all, it's what Chew just did there is even deeper than we're giving her credit jokes for. She took a shot at Western media while wearing the cap. Okay,
exactly.
Very well played. Very well played. But it's kind of listen, at the end of the day, the opening 60 meters of the year at the Millrose games is cool, but it's not relevant, right? Mm-hmm. But what's funny is we're talking about media and we're talking about narratives and we're talking about how these athletes are seen. Well, Ronnie has a big opportunity to change a little bit of the narrative if he goes out there and beats those guys. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Marvin Bracey has.
Here's the thing. I don't think the narrative changes at Millrose.
No,
Because
not in Millrose, but a
at
start.
The USA Championships.
You know what I mean?
See, that's the race I think we all want to see, right?
Yeah, but it'd be like a little thing of momentum because, you know, like Marvin Bracey. Marvin goes out there and wins this race. Does it mean anything in the large gamut? No. But for people who say things like Fugazi time trialer, it'd be like, yo, he lined up and beat them dudes.
But here's the thing though. But to the Fugaziness of this, right? If he wins Millrose and then he gets curb stop at USA,
absolutely. But it's about
that's where he's going with that.
It's about an opportunity to have a moment.
Right. Let's call it what momentum. It is, guys. It is the season opener for everybody to see where they are.
Pretty much.
And it's a prelude to what could be an epic race in Spokane in February, because they only get 2 spots, right? So that's what this is. This is a prelude to what could be an epic competition in about 5 seconds.
So I have a couple things. One, I think it is all those things for everybody except for Christian Coleman for 2 reasons. One, like I said, when Christian Coleman shows up to run the 60, he shows up to break the world record. That's what he shows up to do. Like he doesn't go to meets to run 6:52. It doesn't happen. That's one. 2, he's the only one in this meet who's probably got something quote unquote to prove. He's pissed. He didn't run for a year, right? So like he's going to be even more of a caged animal type deal. Like I think Christian is going to show up and try to send a message to everyone.
That's what
y'all forget. It didn't matter because I wasn't there. Like that's the narrative he is going to try to put upon everybody else in the race.
I mean, he's tried to start that whenever he got DQ'd from all of it.
The other question I had is like, is the indoor worlds like outdoor? So like if we have the defending world champion in the 60, do we get a third?
I don't know.
Does anybody know that? I don't know.
That's a governor question. I don't know.
I feel like the answer to that is yes.
I feel like it is. Like I've had that conversation, but I don't recall.
So if you win World Indoors, you get a bye to go to World Outdoors?
No.
I mean, I know like if you win the European Tour, the world tour, you get a bye.
Right.
But I don't know if that gives you 2 more people.
No, and okay. So I actually I went through this in the hurdles. So if you win the tour, you get in. It's just like everything else. You can't get America can't get both buys.
We can get 3, but not 4.
But they can get 3.
Right.
Okay. So they can't get 3. There was a question.
Right. So if an American wins the tour and the American has the other buy from being the former whatever, they're gonna have to make a decision. But you can definitely get an additional person.
and Christian is the defending world champion. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I was assuming.
When was the last indoor? Was that 18?
Don't get me the line, man. I've missed so many things.
You know what? Because wasn't there supposed to be World Indoors in? It was supposed to be 20, but COVID.
Right.
So they probably just tossed that one out.
So Christian is defending champion
from 18.
From 18. Interesting.
We shall see.
COVID done messed a lot of crap up, boy. I tell you.
I mean, we don't even know what year it is right now. I mean, we're still in January. It feels like it's not in January. Who knows? But we shall see. And I think it's going to be like I said, this is the time trial. The actual race happens at USA. So talking about just, what the opening races mean and whatnot, let's break it down a little bit into some more, not philosophical, but more thought. In your opinions, people, please mind you, in their opinions, what is the most difficult event to develop? why are we, part one, with that consideration, you know, why are we lacking the presence of what we once had and what was, I don't want to say dominant, but prevalent. It wasn't so scarce, such as the 24-foot long jumper, female long jumper, the 28-foot male long jumper. Why are we so spread out in the combined events? Why do we have one versus the other, like more shot putters, but not discus thrower, or shot putters who aren't discus throwers, and vice versa?
It's the longest question ever. What's the question?
It is. What is the most difficult event to develop? And why have we lost the depth, the presence, the strength of some of our weaker events at this point?
Okay.
Like events we used to be prominent in.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So this,
Before you deep dive here, if you can get 3 for sure. I just looked it up.
you can what?
Into the world, you can get 3 into the World Indoor Championships if you have a person that has from winning the World Indoor Tour.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is near and dear to my soul. And dare I say, you know, I am, and Lamar can say the same thing. We can probably look back at our careers and say we came along at the absolute wrong time in our particular events. You know, I will go to my grave, and I think this will be the case, as the longest jump. I have executed the longest jump ever for 3rd place in the history of the long jump. Okay, to jump over 850 and get 3rd, like
Out.
that is what I will have. Like, that's my chip. Okay. I happened to come along when the long jump was a premier event. I have videos of the Olympic trials where the long jump is going on at the US Olympic trials, and they are going to commercial, and they're coming back from commercial, and it is the long jump. They're focusing on every single round. What is Myrix doing? What is Carl doing? What is Mike Powell doing? And it made for great television. And it's something that it's disheartening to me. So the question you have to ask is, why is it that, you know, the United States, in terms of the long jump, male and female, you know, when or how are we going to see those 28-foot jumps again? When are we going to see those 24-foot jumps again? I mean, I don't think it's a matter of talent. I think that it's a matter of enough talent. So what has happened since the early 90s in terms of athletics? And what have we seen? You know, because while I was coming up, you know, and on the circuit or whatever, the NFL and the NBA weren't nearly what they are now. Okay. And I feel like what's happened is that there's definitely a talent drain when you talk about athletes that are specifically built to run and jump. Okay. And I think what we're saying, and I will go to my grave saying this, is that the next 28-footer, the next 29-footer is on a basketball court somewhere, right? And the last thing that athlete is thinking about right now is the long jump. So you have two things happening. The long jump has fallen in terms of popularity. It has lost its luster. And you have the rise of the NBA, you have the rise of the NFL. And as long as that is the case, and as long as the incentives to beat your body up and put your body through things that it should never be put through, all in the name of jumping into a sandpit, I don't think we're going to see that again. I don't think we're going to see, a generation where you have between 8 to 10 jumpers on any given year. And I'm talking about just the US, that are capable of jumping over 27.5. In 1993, I was part of the greatest long jump competition in collegiate history. Okay. You had to jump 26 feet to make the final in 1993 at Tad Gormley Stadium in New Orleans. Okay. 28 feet, 27 mid, I was 27.2, and it just went down from there, right? And that was just a test run compared to what I had to deal with once I got on the professional circuit and lining up with Mike Powell and Carl Lewis and Larry Marix, Joe Green. I mean, I could go down the line, okay? So it's a source of frustration for me, but I also do recognize that, you have to have special individuals that are willing and able to have the imagination to think, all right, that guy just jumped 28 feet, I'm gonna go 28.1. And the madness and the loss of, of control that it takes to run down that runway and put that foot down. I mean, it's a very rare thing, so that's my spiel on it. I hope I can only hope that, we do see the rise of the long jump again, and we do get a collective group of athletes that will push each other, but that's not the case right now.
I don't know if I can speak to one specific event that's the hardest to develop. I do feel like that the long jump, obviously, triple jump. I think the hurdles is an intriguing event to coach. But for me, I think that the biggest issue I have here is not so much that, we're losing athletes, because I know the NFL wasn't as big as it was back then, but everybody can't go to the NFL. Everybody can't go to the league.
That's true.
And I think a lot of it is just due diligence on the part of coaches of identifying talent. I mean, we've had some major talents come through the U.S. in the long jump in the last few years. They just haven't developed beyond college. I'm not trying to call anybody else, but I don't want to be on Instagram next week. But I think the biggest issue we have here, in my opinion, is people don't take the deep dive into getting athletes to be their best. People don't take the deep dive into saying, okay, how good can this guy be, right? People remember Ryan Krauser hasn't always been that guy, right? And so where's the long jumper? Where's the discus thrower? Where's the multi-eventer? Remember there was the Visa series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying that right there, EP? Where are those things? Because there's nobody here that's, it goes back to, we talk about these camps that people are setting up. If we're not sending people to the right places to receive the right coaching, then you're never going to see that rise again. So I think that, I remember talking to a guy from Cuba, and he was being translated. I was with Tony Campbell, the agent, and he was translating to me what the guy was saying. We were talking about hurdles, and the guy's basic thing was, the problem with the U.S. coaches is we try to do everything instead of learning to specialize in one thing. And I think that's what the problem is. The number of people out there that think that they can be multi-event coaches. And I'm not saying there's some people that can do it. Yeah. But the number of people that think they can coach every discipline in a decathlon or heptathlon is amazing to me. Amazing. But that, in my opinion, is what I believe to be the problem with American system and us developing big time athletes and those other events, is because there's no focus on it, right? You know, like I'll just take the great ones. Like, I don't ever recall John Smith trying to coach the mile, right? I know he dabbed in the launch up there for a minute and he came to his senses, right? You know, I don't remember Tom Tellez coaching the 800, right?
Mhm.
You know, Bobby Kersey has his skill set. You know, he stayed mostly with women. The great coach Clyde Hart coached the heck out of the 4 and dabbed in the 2 a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, like, where are those coaches at now? Because we all know guys that they coach anything, right? Let them tell it anyway, right? So I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's what the problem is. We have some very egotistic coaches out there who think that they can coach it all. They don't want to get out and learn the information. They want to reinvent the wheel. And because you can't convince me that there aren't 8 to 10 guys in this country that are in high school and on college campuses that are very capable of jumping over 27 feet right now.
Yeah.
There are, but they have to be coached properly.
So let me jump in here because I feel like the close from Lamar is going to be worth the wait.
I appreciate the love, guys.
To
All
specifically
night long, baby.
to specifically try to nail down the various answers to the question. I agree with both the governor and Lucious. I think there is a bit of a talent drain because there's so much more money in other sports now.
Yes.
You can be lame by NFL football standards and make a ton of money, right? So I think but that only takes care of the men's side of the issue, right? Because there's not a sport out there on the women's side that's just paying this ungodly sum of money to the women, so the fall off there has to be different, right? But I do think the talent drain is a part of it. I highly agree that where athletes now in our sport, but in a lot of sports, at the high school level, at the collegiate level, at the pro level, you have to specialize. But in a world where all these high school kids are trying to specialize, coaches are trying to diversify. To Lucious's point, they're trying to become gurus of all things, probably because they think there's some money in it for them, right? But ultimately, you can't be great at 21 events, right? You're better off to be really good at 2 or 3, if you can even do 2 or 3. And so I think that's a big part of it as well. So I think that's the why. Now, this question was framed from an American perspective, right? Well, for me, and it's probably an outside the box answer, for me, the event that's the hardest to develop in this country seems to be the long endurance races, 10K, 5K, because I know we're trying, and for the most part, we're getting lit up.
Can I borrow one of your phrases here?
Sure.
Are we really?
I mean, listen, I know they putting a lot of money in it. I know they got specialized clubs. I know they got specialized, $1 million coaches for it. And we know there's a whole lot of PEDs going on in it too sometimes. And we still seem to be getting drugged. So from an American perspective, I think can we go there? So, from an American perspective, it seems to me that it's a lot harder for a whole bunch of reasons. I think we're a lot closer to the next 28-foot long jumper than we are to a gold medalist in the 10K that doesn't have doping suspicion from an American perspective.
Now you done woke me up.
So I'm just, from an American perspective, I think that's the toughest event. Now, of course, by definition, the toughest event to develop is the decathlon, because, there's a lot of things to do. And I leave it to Lamar.
And that's not an event. It's
sure.
So
I assume that the combined events were not part of this question. So
Right.
To be clear, we're not about to get a diatribe about the combined events. First, I want to go backwards. I want to address what was just said first. I love you. I really do, Clyde, but you just showed what parts of track you watch and what parts you don't. Right? Like, we just put a collegiate in the final of the Olympics mile, and he damn near medaled.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't even had no money as far as development for him.
The
right?
mile ain't the 10K. I said the 10K.
Well, okay, trust me, I wasn't done. Right? Look, in the Rio Olympics, we won the gold medal in the mile, and we won the silver medal in the steeplechase. Right? Okay, in the 2 Olympics prior to that, we had a guy win a medal in the 5K and the 10K. We had 2 guys win medals in the 5K. And on the women's side, we went 1-2 in the women's steeple. So I cannot understand how you could possibly say that you think that distance running is harder to develop than the men's long jump. There. Now let's get back to what I think is the most difficult event to develop. Look, the long jump is incredibly difficult to develop at its elite level, because you have to convince someone who is a national class sprinter to no longer pursue sprints and to really put their entire mental investment into converting the fastest things they can ever do into the air, right? So it's like, it's not about going from 10:04, which is serviceable, right, Sir Lucious, to 990. It's about going from 10:04 to 990 and then converting that up into the air. And look, to the governor's point, like, he and I, from the long jump perspective, and see, I was smart enough to pick up 9 other events to do and go beat up on people who couldn't handle me. Like, I jumped 26 feet in that same meet in 1993, and I won a national championship because I was smart enough to leave the rest of you numbskulls alone. But look, in our athletic careers, we faced the most 28-footers and the most 27-footers for those who need English.
Remember the list? Remember the list?
Yes,
we sat there and compiled just out of the top of our heads over 40 in the 90s decade that jumped over 27 feet.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Like, look, Carl Lewis won the 1996 Olympic gold medal in the long jump. He was 3rd of the trials. Just put that out there. He jumped 8:30 at the trials and got 3rd.
Yeah.
So, and we won't talk about the fact that, like, that meet ended, like, Dion Bentley's career as a national high school record holder, and it ended Roland McGee's career, whose PB is like 8:52.
Yes,
which is 1 centimeter short of 28 feet.
Yes.
But to further capture what the governor said, there's 2 28-foot long jumpers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Marquise Goodwin and Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson never jumped 28 feet, but he jumped 26 mid in high school.
Yeah.
He jumped 27 feet in college playing at track because he was a football player at USC.
He never jumped 27 feet at USC.
It's like 26, 10 and a half.
You're wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you're wrong.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell that one now, please.
Like I said, okay. I know this much. Adoree Jackson is a 28-foot long jumper if he's not a football player. I know that much.
That's a different
right?
narrative.
That was my initial narrative. Is the point is, neither one of those. I mean, Adoree Jackson at least is a really good football player. He's not a great football player, but he's a really good one. I mean, Marquise Goodwin's just a guy. Marquise Goodwin is just a guy. He's a receiver number 3 on any NFL team that he's on.
But he's well paid.
What?
Very well paid.
Listen, the practice squad guys make a lot of money for track guys. But I think, look, I don't want to disrespect any events, because all the events, look, to make an Olympic medalist is incredibly difficult in every event. So let's be clear. But to make an 853 long jumper, to make a guy that you know is gonna be a medalist routinely in the men's long jump is, I mean, it's so hard, nobody's doing it. I mean, look, we can't even get the 28 footers to stay 28 feet, right? We can't get Jeff to stay 28 feet. Like, unfortunately, Marquise has had some injuries, so it's tougher for him to continue to stay at 28 feet. Who's the other one that I'm missing that's jumped that far that I'm just not sure he's ever going to see it again? You got fourth of the games in the long jump, and then had the doping suspension for tainted meat that ended up getting overturned. Come on, y'all. He won the 100, 200, 100. Darian Lawson. Thank you.
Darian Lawson.
Right.
Yes.
So there's 28 footers we got walking around the United States that we can't get to jump 28 feet on a regular basis. Right. So much so the Marquise. Here's that speaks to my point. Okay, I'm not trying to call anybody out, but when you're that good at that young of an age, is it, you know where I'm going with this? Like, is it the coaching, right? Yeah, because clearly, because okay, I don't care how many humans that you guys had back then. There were a bunch of y'all knuckleheads, right? Someone was coaching you guys. No, for sure. Coaching you well. Yeah. That's my point. For sure. And I don't know. There is a. I don't know if the coaches have fallen off, or the coaches have passed on. Okay, right. But like, all of a sudden, like, you know, as Clyde says, all of a sudden, like, good women's short hurdlers are just falling down the streets, right? Somebody's coaching them, right? And they're not just running fast because they run fast. Can I ask? I wanted to finish my answer really quick. The funny part is on the women's side. No, you're good. The funny part is on the women's side, I think that the 24-foot, you know, the 732 female long jumper is still in the sport. She's just sprinting. Right. Yeah. Right. Like, I mean, look, people forget, like, she's trying to hurdle. Or she's trying to hurdle. Like, Tori Bowie was a national champion in the long jump.
I would just like to ask my esteemed panelists, maybe specifically Big League and the Governor, since they seem to be a little faster with the computer strokes than I ever could be. The question was, from an American perspective, which event is the hardest to develop? Now, I assume because we're having this conversation with this panel, when we say develop, we're talking about elite level, world championship, Olympic type level shit, right? Okay. Yes. In the men's or women's 10K, since however many Olympics, when did we get a medal?
Did you forget Galen Rupp existed?
Did we forget the drug affiliation and Salazar and all that other stuff? So like I said,
a little caveat here, since you asked your esteemed panelists this. Yes. Okay. Is it harder to develop a medalist there because the event's harder to develop, or because the event's so good at a high level at other countries? It's not that hard to develop a 10K run. Okay.
Apparently we struggle.
But no. It's not that we struggle at it. Our talent base, in terms of that, they're not just coaching them the right way. Right. It's all. And plus, the other countries, you watch them run and watch our guys run. It's a little different, right? It's a little different. So all I'm saying is this: that's not a developmental issue. That's a talent issue, right? A little bit of a talent issue.
I go back. What was the name of the American distance runner that went over to Kenya and spent time over there?
Oh, Bob Kennedy.
Oh yeah. Right. And the idea was, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to learn how these athletes do what they do. I'm going to eat what they eat. I'm going to sleep where they sleep. I'm going to ingrain myself into their culture. And damn it, I'm going to learn what it is that makes them great. And he walked away from that experience learning that They've been doing that since they were 5 years old. They've
Mhm.
been running back and forth miles to school. That's what they do. Okay?
Yep.
How can you compete with that? You cannot compete with that.
It's a cultural issue.
It's a cultural issue.
Okay.
Okay? And it doesn't, when not only that, you're indigenous to mountainous areas, right? You were born there. You grow up there. You run there.
Yeah.
I mean, these athletes, that's
So that
what-
would make
that's-
it really,
they were
really
born-
difficult for us to develop into this. Hence
Absolutely.
my point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Well, again, that's not a developmental issue. That's something different.
Not at all. But we'll just let him tell it.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um,
We're gonna start. We're gonna start a new segment called "Let Clyde Tell It."
Oh, I'm here for that.
Oh,
I thought that was called Athletics LLC.
I love
Exactly. There you go. Right. There you go. We're just gonna change the name of the show to "Let Clyde Tell It." Yeah.
Clyde's diatribe. Let Clyde.
Let Clyde tell it,
Yeah.
and the Pips starring Chew.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Oh,
that will
wow.
never happen.
To answer your
We're
question,
we're gonna end that because I'm nobody's Pip. I can promise you that.
Hey, y'all did it. I was going along
No,
with it.
I said we're gonna have a segment. You took over the whole show. So.
oh my
I
god.
want to hear what Big League has to say.
Well, no, I was going to say.
So do I.
Shalane won in 2008, and then Galen won in 2012.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Sorry, Rupp, Salazar, not hearing it.
I mean, that is 10 years ago, though, to be honest. To just put some
So
numbers on it.
I want to say
before
this,
him,
okay?
what was it?
And I'm in no way, shape, or form defending anything that happened in Oregon. Okay, but we need to stop acting as if this crap doesn't go in other places as well. Okay, stop it.
Wait a minute.
Then stop it.
I agree
I'm
with
not
you.
waiting.
Wait,
I won't wait one second.
You won't wait for me to
Stop
agree
it.
with you?
No, I will not because you
He said
got
no.
a twist to the agreement. I know
No,
you
I'm
do.
not
said
twisting it at
no.
all.
Oh, there's a back
I'm
door
not
coming here
twisting
right
it at
now.
all. Listen, let's not allude to it. Let's say it. Russians got doping problems. The Kenyans got doping problems. It ain't news.
Mhm.
That's not me breaking news here. So
Okay.
this is
all right. So in terms of the whole development thing, let's call it what it is. The biggest issue we have in developing what they do is that our doping restraints are tougher than theirs.
Mhm.
But wait a minute.
Half of them don't even test.
Wait a minute. I could get on that page with you, but the governor just told me it's all about talent and kids running through mountains. So you can't have it both ways.
But that's also true.
That's also true.
All right, so then
So it's not having
here's
it
my
both ways because in this case you do have it both ways.
Like if you look at the number of Americans that have run under 13 minutes in the 5K, and you look at the number of Africans that have run it under 13 minutes in the 5K, like, are you serious?
That's my point. It's harder for us.
It's a talent issue. That's the point.
The
It is
talent
literally
issue,
it's a talent issue.
So here's my thing is
It's like trying to train. No, I'm not gonna say that because somebody's gonna get mad at me.
Wait a minute. Now listen. All I'm saying is you got to be careful, and we'll get away with it because it's all fam, right? But you got to be careful because listen, there's a lot of dog whistle in that, right? Like you can't. So what you're saying is because they're African, they're more predisposed to a thing, and maybe biologically.
No,
That's not what I
because
said.
they were born and raised at 7,000 feet.
so hold on. This
understand
is
that.
what I'm going to say.
A
No, this is
regional
what I'll say.
issue.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Big League's trying to speak. Better speak.
So this is because this will go to what you're trying to say, Clyde, is so many internationals, not domestic to the United States, will come here to train because the environment, the aptitude, and the coaching is here. Conversely, you all just, Governor and Lamar just referred to one person who went to Africa to figure out how they did it. But there aren't many bodies going there. So this is to a conversation that I just had the other day was, when we talk about development, it's not about developing the ability. It's about developing the person to take the opportunity to like let the opportunity, the ability go. It's taking the lid off the jar and just going ham, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what it is. We have to figure out how we get there to that part. So like why people aren't going across the seas to do things. Yes.
I see. Here's my thing. And we spoke about it earlier when we talked about the NFL and the amount. There are a lot more 3 stars in the NFL than there are 4 and 5 stars. And the problem we have is we don't have a system that allows our 3 stars to develop. That's the biggest issue here. We don't have that system. And like, so there's no place, like we talked about this a million times on here, that there's no place for the guy that comes out of college that's running 10-1 to go become a 9-7 guy. We can't do it. You know, you like, okay, we see it all the time in the NFL. A guy who didn't even play football in college is playing on Sundays catching touchdowns, right? There's no there exactly. Big props to Cyril. There is no place for that in track and field. And so in my opinion, 1, I think it goes back to the coaching. 2, it does go back to some of the number stuff, obviously, because some of those people are bleeding into the league. But if you're a 10-1 guy, you got a much better chance of going and getting on somebody's roster in the NFL than you do of developing into a 9-8 guy because you can't make a living.
So here's what I have to say about the coaching. I've been waiting my turn for this one. So the gap that we have in coaching, and I'm just going to give this shape. I don't mean this literally. The gap between Power 5, quote unquote, educated elite coaching to the mid-major. I'm not even gonna call it group of 5 because mid-major, right? The gap of ability, education, ability to just specialize the coaching group is so tall. There's such a big gap. So with that, because we don't allow them to specialize at that level 3, 5, 3-star level, it doesn't happen. It just can't happen because at that level, we're asking them to coach 8 events, 10 events, 11 events at a time successfully. And successfully means mediocre.
See, Clyde, you know that because you've lived that. I have been on the phone with you at said school when you were like working with 4 different groups. I remember the conversation, right? Okay. Yeah. So that is a huge, that's a wonderful comment because those athletes aren't given the chance. You can't tell me there aren't more Cornelia Hayes out there. There are.
Yeah.
But see, she's a 2-star, 3-star girl out of high school, right?
Yeah.
And and luckily she came out of college and she went someplace and it made it happen. But how many Cornelia Hayes do we never hear from?
Yep.
Right.
And I'm legitimately asking because I don't know. I don't know. In the coaching realm in this country, how many coaches, not necessarily our opinions, because our opinions are usually a little highbrow, but how many coaches would you say are considered by people to be elite sprint coaches versus elite distance coaches in America? I feel like the distance coach elite list is considered to be way smaller.
Facts. That's a layup, and I'll give you that.
So this is why my brain goes there. I'm not saying that the long jump isn't a more difficult task, but everything that we point to in the athlete development space, time, space, opportunity, coaching, to get a medal in this country.
Isn't that the first thing I said, coaching? First thing out of my mouth.
Gotta be
the first thing out of my mouth.
But you know what's really funny about what you just said though, Clyde, is that there's a perception about eliteness in the sprint coaching world that is farcical, because the number of American distance coaches.
It's fugazi. Sir.
It is fugazi.
It's the right word.
No, they're talking about a layup.
No, the number of
fugazi coaching.
The number of American distance coaches who have coached medalists and the number of American sprint coaches who have coached medalists is not actually that big of a difference, especially when you consider the number of sprint coaches who would consider themselves and are assumed and presumed to be elite.
Mhm.
Right? That's the part that I think that Sir Lucious always speaks to, and nobody's paying attention. There really aren't that many people in the classroom when you start asking, like, okay, if you've coached an Olympic medalist in an open event of the 100, 200, 400, 110 hurdles, 100 hurdles, is that all the sprint races? I got them all. If you've coached an Olympic medalist in one of those events, raise your hand and report to the room. Dude, that room ain't full.
Mhm.
How many people do you think are in that room, Clyde?
Not many, but that's why I said the perception.
Right.
That's why I said the perception. But there's
Mhm.
definitely less
Yeah,
American.
and the governor, I just didn't ask you that question because I didn't want you to start counting in your head. I know. So you,
Oh, I'm counting right now. I'm trying to count.
The governor would be like,
Oh, I already was there.
Exactly. I know you.
I'm gonna instinctually say 10-ish.
Mm.
We're gonna need to like Twitter verify these
Yeah.
elite coaches and give them blue checks or something.
That number is probably about, I feel like that number is probably, that sounds and smells right.
It feels about right.
I'm
But
gonna
I
say
feel
10
like
to 15, right?
I feel like if you ask like the Twitterverse, you're going to get numbers like 90, 75. Like, seriously, I think people out there think that like everybody is coached an Olympic medalist in the sprints. And it's just not
when you
true.
talk, and when you talk about being an elite coach, right? And for people, like, being an elite coach means you've coached somebody to run fast. But then what's fast anymore, right?
Mhm.
Like, being, if you coach someone to run 10-0 something, that does not make you an elite coach. It doesn't. Especially if they've only done it one time. And so that's the thing. People label themselves as great coaches or elite coaches when they've had one athlete do one thing special one time. And that's not what the sport's about. It's about longevity. It's about consistency. And the elite coaches do it on a, we had this discussion back when we talked about the whole pandemic thing. The elite coaches
Mhm.
figured a way out to get it done.
Yep.
Mhm.
They will.
Well, and to do it at the right time.
Exactly.
The right.
No
time.
fugaziness at all allowed.
All right. Adoree Jackson jumped
791.
Really?
Wow, I know.
791. Well, so he jumped 25:11.5, and then in high school it was 25:10.5.
He got the 10 part right.
So, FYI. And then Clyde, to yours before Galen was Billy Mays in 64.
Lord.
Oh, I'm sorry. When?
64.
64.
Billy Mills.
64,
Mills,
2022, Galen Rupp. I'm
And
done.
then before Shalane was a young lady named Lynn. I just forgot her last name. And it was
I take my hat
50-ish.
off. I
Was
thought
60
Adoree
what?
Jackson was far better than he is.
Wait, hold on, Chew.
See,
On the women,
and the
it was
reason
what?
and the reason I knew that Adoree didn't jump that far is because we recruited Adoree very hard out of high school. So I knew he wasn't a 26-footer in high school.
Hold on, Chew. Distance don't get a lot of talk around here. On the women's side,
On the women's side,
before
it
Shalane,
She didn't even know. She doesn't even know her name, so she can't.
was Lynn something. I just forgot.
I just need to know the year. The name ain't important.
Let me pull it back. It was 50, 60-ish again.
50s and the 60s.
I'm getting there fast.
But didn't we have someone win a medal in the marathon?
Yeah.
Lynn,
The first
I lied.
first marathon ever
Yeah.
in the Olympics.
Lynn Jennings, 92.
92.
Yeah.
92.
Inverted.
That's not 60s.
It's
I
not
know,
that
it was
long
off.
ago.
It was the men.
That's that Lamar reading of things.
I know, right?
But
I was on
Hey.
So
sustain.
anyhow, right? If that wasn't the ultimate buildup, we started you off with CFP and then we landed that goose egg, or not goose egg, that bomb on you on the end. So well done, gentlemen. Well done. Governor, you are in line for rapid fire.
I don't. Wasn't he on rapid fire last
I
week?
was on rapid fire last week.
Really? Where did?
I don't
Oh,
You need to keep a chart.
I do have a chart, and that's
See,
the thing.
I don't know how it is that I always know who's on the hot seat. Nobody
I
else
don't.
does.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's see. So
It would
then-
be me.
I was gonna say. So then you're gonna get governor's question.
Oh, Jesus. Oh,
This ought to be-
that
look,
might work.
You know what?
That actually
might
might
work.
work. Roll with it.
Because Governor, I think you saved my life because I always get the suspect.
That might work. Roll with it, Chew. Roll with it.
Oh my
man.
gosh.
No
All right,
edits, just
sir.
straight
No
through.
edits. No edits. You ready, sir?
Yes, I'm ready, man.
This question is not even fair. You have $1 million, no consequence, free money. What are you doing with it?
He already got that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
That's not fair.
he's mad. He got a pay cut. He got a pay cut.
Wow, I thought I was on rapid fire. I didn't know the whole panel.
Our bad.
Listen, we're jealous
Okay,
of your
so-
bag. All right.
Okay, so what? Can I hear the question again?
Yeah, you have $1 million, no consequence, free money. What are you doing with it?
I'm gonna do something nice for my family as a whole.
Got it. I don't think I would expect anything less. Have you ever missed a travel bus or travel thing of going somewhere as an athlete or a coach?
No.
No shot.
If you can have a pet, exotic or domestic, what type of pet would you have?
No pets allowed.
You're so grumpy.
No pets allowed.
So this question doesn't. Oh man, that doesn't work. Last movie you watched?
Jeez. Like a new movie or just a movie period?
Just movie period. Movie period.
Oh Lord. Oh, I watched Dreamgirls before we start recording tonight. Yeah, Dreamgirls.
What is your favorite guilty snack? Like gross, filthy, feels good snack.
Filthy snack?
Yeah. So like the thing that you just shouldn't eat, but you do anyways, and Angela probably gives you the side eye.
Oh my God! Oh, ice cream and wafers. Oh my God! Yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite?
Because not only is it bad for me, but it gives me horrible gas. So yeah, she does not.
Oh my God. Oh Lord.
I told you it would work.
Love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite healthy snack?
Bananas.
Got it.
Either bananas or pretzels and peanut butter, but usually
Oh
bananas.
goodness. Oh goodness. So the question I couldn't ask you that I had deemed for the governor, because I'll just find you a new one, is if and when the girls decide to participate in track, would you want them to do the events you did or hard pass? So I guess we can kind of tailor that, when the kids were coming up, would you have steered them away into a direction?
Honestly, I would not ever want anybody in my family to run the hurdles. No. And for two reasons. One, because I don't trust anybody else to teach them to hurdle.
Right.
One. And if somebody was teaching them to hurdle, I got a sense that I'd be very critical of them doing it.
No way.
There's a reason why my son's a long jumper, right? So,
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right, I opened it.
And
to the
Michelle
other
wanted
pile.
nothing to do with outdoor sports. So
Hey, but she's winning. She is thriving.
yes, she is.
She's
Winning.
chosen correctly.
Yes, she has.
All right, gentlemen, your turn. I actually remembered this time.
Who's got it?
I'll be simple. The opener is upon you, yes.
Yes, sir.
When the 2022 Gators debut, what's going to be the most result?
The most
Yeah.
shocking result?
Yeah. When the track is back segment comes out next week, what name are we?
Oh my! See,
expecting?
that's unfair.
Of
You know
course.
why it's
Oh,
unfair?
man.
Because he's already forgotten about that one, and that one's gonna happen. He's like, oh, Oh yeah.
I'm not, you're not pick. It's not a pick amongst your children thing. It could be the most shock. It could be the catch the audience by surprise.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna give you the name. I'm gonna give you the name Talitha Diggs as a sleeper for the weekend.
There you go. All right. I like it.
I'm gonna go. You're leaving your hotel room to head to the track for finals at the conference meet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have a ritual. Is there a certain thing that you do, like before you leave the room, or is there a certain thing that you do, like on that day, that you can think of that it's like a thing
Has
you
to
can do?
happen.
But the only thing that I do is I have my color scheme, right? That. And so it depends on if it's the conference meet, that I have to have the right, casual shoes on.
Mhm.
And if it's the national meet, I have the right J's on. So it depends on the competition, but yeah.
There we go.
Last but not least.
By the way, Clyde, that last answer was legitimately first world problems. I love it though. He is. We should change his name to Sir Lucious of the Subtle Flexors. My problem always is with this guy is like to only ask one question, right? So I'm going to I try to peel back a different layer every time he's on the hot seat. So I'm trying not to be too vicious in my peeling.
Sir, what's going on?
Okay, I'll do it. I will never be so mean as to ask you to pick amongst your children and ask you who the best one ever is. But I will ask you, what do you think your best singular coaching job has been thus far?
Taking an athlete from.
Okay, so yeah. All right, so
and you can answer one of two ways. It can either be one specific thing, like one specific day, like somebody was here mentally and you got them here, or it could be one career from wherever they were to wherever they ended.
I mean, I think that from the wherever they were to where they ended, spectrum, two names come to mind. And I'm going to pick your favorite, which is Mr. Chris Carswell, who was a 15-1-ish guy in high school that ran sub 14 here in Florida. And another guy, Gerald Clairville, was a 49-9 guy in high school that ran 45-7. From the mental aspect, from a if walls could talk aspect, getting Kyra Jefferson in the right mind space on the 2202 day was quite the journey. But to her credit, she bought in, and we had a wonderful result. So it was good.
I just hope America was listening. The kid ran 15-1 over high school hurdles and ran under 14 seconds over 42-inch hurdles. There's that 3-star. He's a 1-star, but yeah, he's a 1-star. Because let's be clear. I don't know that in today's world, I don't know if in today's maturations of the University of Florida that you let him on the team.
Nope. You're right.
Look, see, now you just messed it up for the rest of us. He's gonna go out. He's like, yeah, I gotta take the middle kid now.
But here's the thing, in Carswell's case, his high school coach was a distance coach. And he said to me, I think this kid could help you, but he just needs a shot. He got into school on his own. Will you give him a chance? So if I got that same call about said kid, because the coach is a good friend of mine, it'd be hard for me to say no, but I would be tempted to say no. I would. I would.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Good questions. Good questions. All right, we'll
Thank
wrap
you.
up. Oh, kind of. I said questions. We'll wrap up tonight with our heartbeat props. I'm just giving people some shout outs and praise while they can hear them and let it fall on their 2 ears. I'm going first because heartbeat props, shout outs, lift ups to the Niners playing the Cowboys this weekend.
Oh boy.
I'm excited. So I've been bullied by the besties to actually go to the game this weekend. So tickets were purchased, jerseys will be worn, filthy, disgusting food will be eaten, and fun will be had. Hopefully the dub will come with us, because if not, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off. So, but with that, bang,
It's
bang.
just a game.
Oh yeah.
So
Until it's one of my teams.
I'm going to counter your heartbeat props with
Damn it.
my Dallas Cowboys going up against the 49ers this weekend.
There has to be a bet.
No, because we're both NCAA coaches. So.
It doesn't have to be money. One of you should have to wear like the hat of the other team.
Sir, if any of our compliance departments watch this, you are not helping right now.
Right.
Behave
Listen,
yourself.
I know the
Right,
compliance
right.
rules. That's not against the rules.
We'll settle up. We'll settle up. But yeah, I'm the rhetoric, everything is out there. They will never win another playoff game, yada yada yada. The last thing America wants is the most obnoxious NFL fans ever mouthing off after a win in the playoffs. I'm saying we're going to go ahead and get it done, and may the best team win.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in there.
Okay,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you're good. Go
Look,
ahead.
mine is just a real simple feel-good story. I'm going to give my heartbeat props to somebody I don't even know and somebody I'm 1,000,000% sure does not watch this show. So we may have to try to at him when the show comes out on Friday. But my heartbeat props go out to Klay Thompson, because coming back from an injury is incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. To come back from 2 injuries, having the second one occur when you're just about 100% from the first one, and having them both be career threatening. So you tear your ACL, and then when you're back and you're playing pickup games to where you're just about ready to go back on the NBA floor, you tear your Achilles. To come back from those 2 things after an 11-year career, so you don't have to. You're rich beyond your wildest dreams. You're probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. To come back because you love the game, and 2 of the first 3 plays you get challenge your body athletically. A running floater where you feel contact and you go off one leg and land awkwardly. And the second one ends up being a pump fake to the rack, bang out on 3 dudes. Hey man, listen, if you were not a Klay Thompson fan before, you better recognize, because that's what heart, love for the game, all those things look like.
Okay, I am going to give my heartbeat props to Kirby Smart, the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Georgia Bulldog fans. They have taken years and years of abuse. And I just think that I don't think people understand the task that Kirby was able to achieve. Beating your mentor, beating your friend, beating the big bully on the block, all the other things that come along with that. And so I think that at the end of the day, for me, I don't know how anybody, Bulldog fan or not, can't be totally impressed with what they did the other night. So my heartbeat props go to Kirby, his players, his coaches, and all the Bulldog fans. As they say down in the Island Way, big ups, folks. Great job. now I'm on the beach with the governor now. So
That's right. That's right.
Clyde, heartbeat props for the evening.
I hope someone is still left to go, because I don't want my words to be the last.
They're going to be the last.
Yes, you're the
Oh,
last.
man. Okay, well, we're gonna have to end on a somber note, man. My heartbeat props go out to the family of, the friends of, everybody who's been affected by the untimely passing of Dion Lindor. I mean, it's a tragically sad story. Obviously, a young man gone too soon, and somebody that you see the outpouring has been just genuinely loved in our sport. And the fact that he, represents Trinidad and Tobago, came to school in America, like he's got a lot more pockets of people that know who he is and care about who he is. And that story has just kind of gut punched everybody. And tragic accidents are hard to take. And it feels like we've been getting hit with a lot of, bad news in this realm in our sport lately. But, I know a lot of people that are personally connected to Dion Lindor. And so I know they're going through it. And so to his family, the large Pack family, rest in peace, Dion Lindor.
That's incredibly well said. And since you didn't really want to end on a somber note, I will say I do think there's a 28-footer in the NBA, and his name is Ja Morant.
Sure. He can jump whatever the hell he wants.
I mean, listen.
Unbelievable. That block. My gosh.
Somebody said it wasn't a block. It was a reception. I mean, the man hit his armpits on the backboard.
Jeez.
And listen,
wild.
To change the mood from that, let me say this. In a world where everybody likes to have a revisionist history of things, I was out early on the Ja Morant is the guy and Zion is the bust. So yeah, Ja, my favorite young player under 25.
You know what's so funny? I've written this tweet and deleted it 3 times because I just don't necessarily want to deal with all the basketball heads. But like, let's just let the facts wash over you, right? Like Zion Williamson was like one of the most
hyped.
What's the word? No, not even hyped.
Anointed.
No, Instagrammed. That's the word I was looking for. He's one of the most Instagrammed human beings ever, right? Because of his ability to dunk a basketball. Just let this wash over you. Him and Ja were on the same AAU team, and all those schools that came to recruit Zion passed on Ja, and my man went to Murray State.
Yep.
Like, that just speaks to the blindness of the 2-star, 3-stardom, that can happen in recruiting. Because there's no way you could have ever come to the games and watched all the dunks from alley-oops thrown by the point guard and not thought, well, the point guard's probably pretty good.
Hey.
I mean, the first time I saw Ja Morant play, the first time I watched Ja Morant play in a Murray State uniform, I was like, that dude is Derrick Rose.
I can't claim to be out early on Luka because he was a foreigner and didn't nobody know who the hell Luka was. But Ja Morant and Luka Doncic are the best young players in the NBA, and it's really not close.
I mean, at that age of young, yes, I could not agree with that more.
Well, we'll have to make that a topic under 25.
Oh yeah,
and see how that goes. So, well, thank you all for joining us for another episode of banter and then enlightenment at the end. So, safe travels, best wishes, fast, far, and high. See you next week, everyone. Bye.